America, and a special welcome to my new affiliate in Martinsville, Virginia, AM 1370 WHEE, the talk of the town. I've been guiding you through the first week, and Fridays are special, usually the same lineup of guests, and we are usually looking back over the week in review. Always out of the box when we can get him is John Ellis, the founder and editor-in-chief of News Items. News Items is the Monday through Friday and once on the weekend newsletter that collects all the news that you need from all variety of sources on key topics from technology and science to, of course, the economy and China. And that's where we start. John, I'll be talking with Ben Domenech, Matt Continetti about Trump and the Middle East. And so I thought I would start with you with what I posted this morning, having read News Item, back-to-back big bulletins on China and rare earths that have really shaken the markets today. Unfold that for us.
Well, China has something close to a hammerlock on these rare earth materials and minerals that are crucial, essentially, to the modern economy. And the Trump administration had negotiated with the Chinese, making sure that the flow of these materials would continue. And suddenly, President Xi, 2 weeks before the meeting with President Trump in South Korea, slaps on these very tight export controls, which, is almost by itself disruptive to the global economy, and should they go forward, would be very disruptive. So it created, obviously, today the downturn in the market, and President Trump responded by saying that he would slap, huge tariffs on Chinese products in return, and that's where we stand right now.
Now, John, anything that you have read give us a clue to Xi Jinping's thinking here? Because is it an attempt to step on Trump's higher stature following the negotiation of the Middle East peace accord or ceasefire accord? Or is it simply trying to mess up the APEC meeting in South Korea?
I obviously don't know, but I'm reminded of former House Speaker Tip O'Neill's famous statement that all politics is local. And I think that President Xi is not without his hometown political difficulties, and anything that makes him look like he's standing up to or sticking it to the United States is probably helpful to him politically at home. Secondly, this is a very strong card that he has to play, and he will get concessions for sure, because the modern economy runs on these rare earths. So he's negotiating from a position of considerable strength, and in so doing, he, is helping himself at home.
I've got a lot of friends up in Minnesota cold. AM 1280 has been affiliated for 25 years. Duluth has been up there. They always tell me they have rare earths in Minnesota, but they can't get near them. Does the United States have a backdoor exit here if we simply preempt local rules and previous declarations of off limits and go after our own rare earth deposits?
Well, there are rare earths everywhere, all around the world. Argentina has, vast reserves of rare earths. The problem is the processing of them for industrial use, if you will, primarily takes place in China, and that's for a reason. We, the United States, had dominated the market up until, the 1980s or something, and then the environmental damage from processing these rare earths was such that we were happy to see it go to China. Unfortunately, all these years later, China now has this dominant position. We can do and are doing in the state of Nevada, building out our own processing, if you will. But that's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to happen over 5, 6, 10 years.
Let's hope we have the time. I want to move to the super app. I try and keep up on tech issues. News Items is usually what does it for me. But when I read about the super app, I confess to being confused. What is different about Sam Altman's super app and what I've got on my iPhone already, which is all these different apps?
So the difference is that on your iPhone you have, 200 or 20 or 50 tiles, and you push the one for Expedia.com and you push the one for the Hugh Hewitt show, and et cetera. The Everything app that OpenAI is putting together comes in just one tile, and you tap on it and you say, I want to go to Hawaii for the weekend. It then takes you to Zillow, let's say, or not Zillow, Expedia, and you make your reservations there, but then you're not sure which hotel, so you ask Expedia to rank everything for you, and then you're not sure that Expedia has it right, so you ask OpenAI to tell you, what the public thinks about this hotel or that hotel. So it's all your apps: finance, travel, sports information, Hugh Hewitt connection, all there in one place, and you go to it, to a particular app, and you're able to ask OpenAI questions that are related to that. So it's the holy grail of the future iPhone. And Elon Musk bought Twitter in large measure so that he could create the Everything app that has eluded everyone else. With OpenAI now getting into it, it will be a contest between Sam Altman and Elon Musk as to who can build the better Everything app.
Well, it's I'm reminded of the Lord of the Rings. One ring to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them. We'll find out whether or not we like one app or many. Now let's get to the debasement trade, because that's the first time that someone's explained to me why gold's over $4,000 an ounce. Do you want to expand on that? Because that is wild. I've had a gold advertiser on the program for 25 years. We've never been here before, John Ellis.
Well, gold at 4,000 has to be something that none of us anticipated. But there's real concern, obviously, about debt, not just U.S. debt, but debt all across the world. And there's therefore very grave concern about currencies, the U.S. dollar, the Japanese yen, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's this debasement trade, so-called, which is if you are, you invest in all these various things, but if you're concerned about the future of the U.S. dollar, the Japanese yen, and so on and so forth, your rush to safety isn't what it used to be, which was treasuries. It is now, or increasingly is now, the Bitcoin and gold and silver, and that's the trade that's now taking place. A lot of investment professionals are urging their clients to hedge their bets on currencies and on markets and say, look, just go to these commodities or go to the digital currency, Bitcoin.
Does this prefigure, or has a gold rise of this magnitude prefigured recession and market correction before?
I mean, generally speaking, when gold rises quickly, it's an indication that the financial system is in some distress. But we don't know. I mean, there's the move to Bitcoin began years and years ago, and it's now perceived as an alternate store of value. Gold has always been perceived as a store of value. And does that mean, therefore, that people going into these products, if you will, does that mean that the other products are, ever more risky? It certainly indicates that they are risky, but does it, presage a recession or some kind of market meltdown? We have no idea.
Last question, Virginia, New Jersey. I talked to Jack Chitterelli yesterday, Winsome Sears the week before. Chitterelli thinks she's ahead. Winsome Sears thinks she's closing. What is your assessment of the polling, John Ellis?
I think it's a perfect case of the Democrats are trying to nationalize the race to make it a referendum on President Trump, because President Trump's numbers in New Jersey and Virginia are underwater. And the Republican candidates are trying to localize the race. They want it to be about the local issues in Virginia and New Jersey. And, going into the campaign, let's say mid-September, it was assumed that the race would be national, that the Democrat would be favored by anywhere from 3 to 7 points or whatever. But what's happened is that the race has become local. And so the Republicans are doing better and I think, Citarelli has a chance of winning New Jersey, probably 50-50, maybe a little bit less. And the Virginia race is a lot closer than anybody thought.
Not over yet. Not over by a long shot. John Ellis, thank you. If you're not a subscriber to News Items, get smart.